Oyster farming is taking off in Texas, but that wasn't always the case. Texas was the last remaining coastal state not allowed to oyster agriculture. That's until the Texas legislature passed a law to allow a new method for raising oysters to be used instead of dredging the oysters from natural reefs. Our Lydia Herrera is in studio to tell us how this alternative harvest method is leading the way to oyster conservation right here in the coastal bend. Lydia.
4 years ago, an oyster farm didn't exist in Texas until a local man made it his mission to find a way to produce delicious oysters while helping the ecosystem. Now, there are 11 licensed oyster farms across the Texas coast, making a positive impact one oyster at a time.
It's a community effort, real proud of it, and we love where we live.
4 years ago, Brad Lomax created Texas Oyster Ranch, the first oyster farm in Texas that is paving the way to oyster conservation across the Texas coast.
Dredging oysters is a destructive form of commercial fishing because you're dredging up the animal, but you're also dredging up habitat.
Bill and Amelia Streiber are the owners of Clearwater Oyster Gardens of Texas. They just harvest their first set of oysters and say Lomax has guided them from the beginning, and they're happy to be part of the conservation effort. Although Texas is the second largest commercial oyster harvester in the country, the oyster's ecosystem is declining. That's why the Streibers are stepping up to be part of the solution.
85 to 90% of the natural oyster reefs have been depleted historically. Whether that's through overharvesting or hurricanes or otherwise, and it's getting worse. The Parks and Wildlife Department is restricting the harvest of natural oysters because they're becoming so few.
Amelia says oyster farming is hard, but it's also rewarding knowing they're making a positive impact on the environment.
This makes me feel like I can leave this little piece a little bit better, where we're not digging up oyster reefs and we're creating a cleaner water system.
Recently, Lomax was appointed by Governor Abbott to be part of the Commercial Oyster Mariculture Advisory Board, which will advise state agencies on the oyster industry. He says there are currently 10 more oysters farming permits processing.